Art takes me to another world. You often hear artists say that everything else fades away and it's just you and the art, in the zone. But really for me, there's nothing left but me and my thoughts. Good, bad, negative, positive. The art is almost a mediary, like an unbiased, safe listener for me to explore all of my feelings without judgment. I feel like different people at different times when I'm making art. It's almost like a practice of self-love, self-compassion, exploration, frustration, anger, excitement, and above all, freedom. But I didn't always know it could feel this freeing. Around the time I was 6 years old, my family experienced homelessness. My parents were very hardworking, always doing what they could to provide a better life and education for us. In pursuit of this dream, we moved to a better neighborhood with more opportunities, and for our family, that happened to be a predominantly white suburb. At that time in the 90s, as a young, black, middle-class family of 6 in a white suburbia, there was no room for mistakes or bad days. And unfortunately, that's what happened to us. It was a really uncertain time in my life, and I think it played a big role in how I viewed my safety and protecting it at all times. There was no room for art and creativity, or at least that's what I thought at the time. It almost became this fear-driven motivation. Fast forward to my late 20s, I worked my way into the business world. I was lucky enough to enjoy the work at most of my jobs for a time, and I built a safe life. But there was always something at the back of my head, just like an itch, telling me there should be more to this life than just a 9-to-5 job. I was fortunate enough to travel, live, and work in other countries. And that exposure led me to get my first camera. And everywhere I went, I started taking photos and making art again, either for relief or fun. Eventually, I started getting small side jobs taking photos. But I was always 1 foot in, 1 foot out the door. The fear of uncertainty and ending up in the same situation when I was a child so deeply drove my decisions that the thought of being an artist felt like one of the most uncertain careers to have. You know the feeling where you know something needs to change in your life? Something to push you in a better direction that you want to move in? The thing about change, though, is that it doesn't always come in the most pleasant way or the way you expect. But it's up to you to embrace it and use it as a tipping point. A year after the global pandemic started, I got a call early one January morning that my brother had died. My brother was a person I always felt comfortable around. Laughing and joking together was our way of communicating. He knew how to enjoy good things and was so easygoing, and I admired that so much about him. I was half a world away from my family and every comfort a person would want during a time like that. Unable to go home, in lockdown, in a country where I barely spoke the language, and with really just my partner to lean on, I was hit with indescribable grief and depression. The world just felt colorless for a while, and I was really angry with God and just life in general. When I thought I was at my lowest, I ended up having an extreme pain in my chest that was misdiagnosed for over 2 weeks by multiple doctors. And I know that women's pain is generally downplayed and overlooked, and I'm no stranger to this. That's why I also knew I had to keep looking for opinion after opinion. When they finally figured it out, I was hospitalized immediately. I'd had a pulmonary embolism. I've always felt connected to the idea that there was something bigger than us, but I needed to find my own understanding. It was thanks in part to my deepened practice that I felt such a sense of peace when I found out about the embolism. I just felt this overwhelming sense that my brother was looking after me and I was being taken care of. During those 6 days in the hospital, for the first time in a long time, and since my brother had died, I truly felt a sense of peace and just that everything was going to be okay. Being surrounded with this feeling and knowing of being cared for, I was able to clearly understand what it meant to be safe in my body and in my spirit. I felt free. After that feeling washed over me, all I could think about was making art and wanting to draw. I would wake up thinking about it, go to bed thinking about it. It was all I wanted. By the time I left the hospital, everything just clicked for me. I truly understood that every day isn't guaranteed. I just didn't want to spend my life being scared of uncertainty and chaining myself to this false idea of safety. It was my wake-up call to just move in the direction of my dreams without any hesitation, and that everything would be okay no matter what. I decided that I would put my joy and my happiness above anything else. And for me, one of those joys is creating art and being able to make a life from it. In a way, all that loss and pain served a great purpose for me and helped to heal old wounds and ultimately free me. We don't know how long we have, and I wanted to embrace uncertainty with open arms and welcome this new freedom.